Ace Bailey is happening, and it's next on Locked on Jazz.
You are Locked on Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
How are you? And welcome to Locked on Jazz and the #1 sports podcast network, Locked on. I'm David Locke, radio voice of Utah Jazz, Jazz NBA insider. This is Locked on Jazz. It's your daily podcast in Utah Jazz, giving you insight, expertise, geeky numbers, and hopefully making it way better to be a Jazz fan each and every day. Thank you so much for making Locked on Jazz your first listen of the day. We are free and available on all podcasting apps, as well as on YouTube. And thank you to the everydayers who bring it every single day and have been such a major part of growing Locked On. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel, new customers bet $5. If your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. All right, we do a Trends Monday every Monday. We will do that. It'll be interesting to see where everybody is. We will I thought Keyonte George's last two games were the most important two games he's played all season, and reconfirm how different a player he is today than he was before. We'll discuss that on the show. There's some interesting notes on last night's game. I thought it was one of the actually best defensive performances of the year by the Utah Jazz. But let's start with what we all want to see and what is happening and what everyone can probably relax a little bit. Ace Bailey is happening. It was either last Friday or 2 Fridays ago that in Ask LOJ, every question, rightfully so, was like, why isn't Ace Bailey playing? What's going on? And what do you see? We're seeing it. And I had said that I really thought, and I was wrong because it's happening faster. I had said, like, hey, it's going to happen. Like, the talent is too incredible for it not to happen. And I had said, like, I think you'll see him go through October averaging 15 minutes. And he'll get to November and average 20. And in December, he'll average 23 or 24. And then by January, he'll average 27 or 28. And then he'll get an injury somewhere and lose a few games, come back from it. And then by March, he'll average 30, 35. Like that's what I said. That's what I thought was going to happen. It's happening faster than that. Last night was 31 minutes from Ace Bailey, and more importantly, a really solid 31 minutes. I'm not sure I'm a big believer in individual game plus minus, but there's certainly a trend here. Okay, Ace Bailey from game 2 to 10. Here were his game-to-game plus minuses. Minus 16, minus 15, minus 17, minus 15, minus 17, a plus 11, a minus 15, a minus 19, and a minus 16. Now, some of this was because he was playing on the bench unit, and the bench units have not been very good, and they're like Filipowski now has this number because Kyle's playing off the bench. Some of that. So there's a lot of noise in individual plus minus. But the last games there were plus 9, minus 18, plus 8, plus 6, plus 3, and plus 14. To me, what that shows is growth, understanding how to play, and obviously playing with the starters and playing with better players has made it better for him. But we are seeing flashes on a nightly basis. There is still a long way to go. The kid hasn't taken a free throw in like 3 games and does not know how to go to the rim at all. It is not refined in any way, shape, or form. The talent, the skill, the potential, and that it's coming together is undeniable right now. And if you really get into this season, we've played really well, we've competed, we've had these close games. The season is about Ace Bailey's development. It was about Walker Kessler's development. It is about, unfortunately, that went wrong. No one's fault, but just went wrong. It is also about what we talked about all preseason, the 7 young players. And we need 2 or 3 of them to hit. So if Ace has to hit, we don't have a choice. If Ace doesn't hit, we're set back multiple years. And it's going to hit. Like, it's clear. And then the question is, of the Keonte, Bryce, Isaiah, Kyle, Cody, Walter Clayton, I'm missing one. I've missed one of the 7 players. Taylor Hendricks. Which of those can hit? And we'll talk about Keonte in a minute. That's going. But the first part of the season is about Ace, and that's happening. In his last 7 games, he's now shooting 52% from the field, 39% from 3. He barely goes to the free throw line, so it's irrelevant. He's turning it over just once a game. It's happening. More importantly than any of the numbers, the things that are happening with Ace Bailey are defensively after he had his welcome to the NBA moment, and there's going to be another edition of Bailey and Bailey coming out on Jazz Plus when Thurl sits down with Ace. When he picked up 6 fouls in 10 minutes, all for reaching, all for his hands out like this. We're watching him literally play with his defense with his hands wide like a spread, like a bird, like he's got his wings out. Every time we're watching him literally try to implement what he's learning. These are the things that matter. We had a play the other night where Ace Bailey came off a Nurkic pick in the middle of the lane and rose for a mid-range jumper. Okay, we can talk about mid-range jumpers, and the Jazz actually have about the worst shot distribution of any team in the NBA right now. But 1, he navigated the pick. 2, he created himself. 3, he's 8'11" standing reach, and he jumps about a foot or 2 off the ground, so he rises up and creates space. 3, he made the shot. He has an incredible ability to get shots off and to create space. I literally thought when I watched him in college, he could get a shot off at any time, and I thought he would shoot like 35% this year because of the fact he could shoot on every single time he wanted to, and there would be 3 of 19 nights. I haven't seen that at all. The instinctual passing and ball moving inside of a game and the fact what he's processing is fabulous. We're also obviously seeing his shooting improve. His catch and shoot game has gotten much, much better recently. He's not, we're just seeing it all come together. He continues to run the floor. He gets a play or 2 a night in transition. He's grabbing an offensive rebound or 2 a night. These all have to go up. They all have to get better, but it's all there. It's not arrived. It's happening. But the flashes are so obvious every single night right now to this kid. It cannot be more exciting and more obvious of what he's able to do. I tell you, the one that I almost need to go back and find tape of it. He reminds me, and I wonder why I have this in my mind. He reminds me of a 19-year-old, 18-year-old Tracy McGrady, who, by the way, goes to the Hall of Fame, wins the scoring title twice. Like, 18-year-old Tracy McGrady came to the NBA and averaged 18 minutes a night. He averaged 7 points, like 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and like it was so obvious it was there. And it was so obvious it needed time. He was in Toronto, probably, maybe like held him back a little bit. He actually didn't play for a little while, and then he played like 8 minutes a night for a while. And then if I remember correctly, right about game 50, they started him, and he kind of wrapped up the season. The last 30 games of the year is my memory. I don't know if this is actually right or not. He ended up starting and having a fairly decent impact in kind of that irrelevant part of the season. And my memory is that he really started to show those flashes, and you're like, oh, it's there. Ace is probably doing this earlier. But that's what I remember. And I think and I've actually looked at this a lot because this is what, for whatever reason, he reminds me of. Well, maybe the fact that Tracy McGrady is 6'8", 210 with a long reach. I really think that's who he is. Is that Tracy McGrady didn't really click till his 3rd year. So I think that's, Ace may be faster than that. These kids today are probably a little faster than that. But that's my comp on him. And Ace Bailey, I don't know if he wins scoring titles, but I actually don't know why he doesn't. And they're both similar, right? They both had 7-foot wingspans, 8'11" standing reaches. They're very similar. They're physically very, very similar. So Ace Bailey's happening. It's so fun to watch. Every night there's a different play, and they're all different. They're everything from a defensive stance where he actually gets the steal on Luka Doncic in the final minutes of the game with his outstretched arms to be able to make this incredible reach to be able to play defensively. It's with his relentless energy and zest he plays the game with. It's the offensive rebounding once or twice a night that needs to probably become 3 or 4 times a night. It's the occasionally creating his own shot probably once a night that needs to become 3 or 4 times a night. It's the catch and shoots in transition. It's the catching the 3 on the move the other day and being able to square your shoulders and get the shot off. It's all of these things. And I think as time goes on, right now we're probably running 2 or 3 plays a night for Ace Bailey. I'm going to guess we start to run 5 or 6 or 7 plays. He's now, it's time. It's becoming clear it's time for that. Keyonte George has been a revelation this season, and I would say that the last 2 games are the most important he's played all year. It's next on Locked On Jazz. Monday edition of Locked On Jazz is brought to you by Murdoch Chevy. The Murdochs have been in Utah for over 80, 90, 100. Who knows how long they've been here? Forever. They're part of the culture, the community, the fabric of who they are. They are Utah. The Murdochs, it goes back to Blake during COVID when everybody else was charging extra and the Murdochs didn't. And I asked Blake, he's like, yeah, I don't want to go to the grocery store and see someone I took an extra $1,000 from. I just don't want to do that. I don't want to go to church and see someone I took an extra $1,000 from. That's the essence of who the Murdochs are. That's the no regrets experience. And Murdoch Chevy, located in Woods Cross and Logan, has all sorts of deals for you. Obviously, we're talking the great Chevy trucks. There's nothing quite like the Chevy trucks, the essence of Americana with the Chevy truck. And the Silverado in Colorado are 0% for 3 years right now in the 2025 and 26 Silverado 1500. Also, special Black Friday sales are coming up at Murdoch Hyundai. So get there. Also, Murdoch's got the winterization for your vehicles. If you need to get something, be ready for the winter and be taken care of. It is all there for you at Murdoch Chevy in Woods Cross with the Silverado and the Colorado trucks, the Equinox on your SUV lineup, along with the Blazer and the Tahoe and the Suburban, the legendary cars that are out there. It's all over at Murdoch Chevy. Stop by Woods Cross, stop by in Logan, or email me first at dlock09@gmail.com so that we can give you the VIP experience that you deserve. Today's show is also brought to you by Gusto. Gusto. I think I've mentioned this before. We used Gusto when we first started the business because no one starts a business with the joy of calculating tax withholdings or managing payroll spreadsheets. And that's where Gusto comes in to take the stress out of payroll, benefits, and HR so you can focus on running your business and supporting your team. Gusto is the all-in-one remote-friendly payroll and HR platform that makes your marketing team simple, transparent, and fast. Managing your team, simple, transparent, and fast. Whether you're hiring, onboarding, or paying employees, Gusto helps you do it all in one place without the hassle and hidden fees. Unlimited payroll runs for one monthly price, which means no surprise charges. At the end, Gusto's automated tools like offer letters, onboarding material, direct deposits save you hours every week. Try Gusto today at gusto.com/lockedonnba. That's gusto.com/lockedonnba to get 3 months free when you run your first payroll. That's 3 months of free payroll at gusto.com/lockedonnba. One more time. That's gusto.com/lockedonnba. Thanks so much for making Locked On your first listen of the day. We are free and available on all podcasting apps. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. I want to see if I can show you this. This is pretty funny. Let's see if this works. Oh, it's not doing it. Oh, there we go. So there is such a breeze in my room. If you're watching on YouTube, what you're seeing is a napkin in my hands, and it's literally being lifted up by the air. It's just shooting right at me while I'm doing this show. So I thought I'd just share that with you. That was kind of a weird demonstration. I thought Keyonte George has started the year great. His shooting is getting better. He and Chris Jones continue to work on his off-the-bounce three-point shooting, which is really the thing that has not been working. But I'm watching for things both nervously and excitedly with Keyonte George right now. Like, I'm wondering, is the old Keyonte George coming back at some point in time, or is this real? And you're looking at him right now, and for the season, he's averaging 23 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. His shooting numbers are only okay, but they continue to get better. And he's shooting an unbelievably high percentage at the rim at 74%, and his floater game is good. And you're like, is all of this sustainable? And then I watched him the last 2 nights, and I'm more convinced it's sustainable than ever because Oklahoma City is the number one defense in the NBA. And they're physical, and they're strong, and they're everything that's caused Keyonte problems over the years. And honestly, it's the kind of game that Keyonte George in the last 2 years probably would have wilted and maybe folded under the pressure of that game. And he did the opposite. He had 20 points and 8 assists and 3 rebounds, and he played really well, and he shot 6 of 10, and he didn't force shots when they took him away from him, and he relied on his teammates to try to make plays, and they didn't make them, and we got waxed in a 33-4 run in the third quarter, and that's fine, because to me, that's better than Keonte going on some crazy shooting wacko job where he goes 4 of 16, forces it, throws things up, and gets wildly frustrated. The maturity he showed in the Oklahoma City game, we got killed, was really fabulous. He went to the free throw line 7 times against them, which means he stayed aggressive and he didn't wilt and he fought. And then last night against the Lakers, he's playing a team who he torched the game before with 34 points. On that night, he hit 5 of 13 from 3, and he had his 8 assists, and he played really well, and they're going to come with a game plan and try to take it away from him. And I thought, he didn't shoot it great. He shot it 10 of 23, which is totally fine. That's actually fine. But again, the thing that makes, and he only shot 4 free throws, which is the fewest he's been shooting because he's been shooting. So this was not a perfect night, but it also had 5 rebounds and 8 assists. And he finished with 27 points, and 10 of 23 shooting is not bad. But frankly, his 10 of 23 shootings used to be 8 of 23. Like, if I could, these are the things that are the difference in Keonte this year to me. And we talked about all offseason of whether he was going to be able to do it or not. But some of it was this idea of whether or not Keonte could make plays if Keonte could, the things I wanted to see out of Keonte this year, and he's so much better than I could have ever imagined. One was to rectify his shot distribution so that he actually started taking shots that gave him a chance. Take more shots at the rim. He's actually not doing that. And take less mid-range shots. He actually hasn't really done it. He's just finishing at the rim with so much more excellence than he ever has before. I think he went from 62% to 71% at the rim. The second thing I wanted to see out of Keonte was a very simple one, which is we've got to have less 33% nights and worse. Like, if you remember last year, nights in which Keyonte George shot 33% or worse were abundant. Keonte played 67 games last year. In 26 of the 67 games Keonte played last year, he shot 33% or worse on the night. Like, you can't do that. Like, and be an NBA player. That's all over a third. It's almost a half. It's 40% of your games played last year. Keonte shot 33% or worse on the given night. Those were nights where he just starts taking bad shots and forcing it, and it gets away from him. And we're not seeing that at all. And the last 2 nights were nights where that could have very, very easily happened. In Keonte's first season of the year, this was not new. He played 75 games, and in 31 of the 75 games, Keonte had shot 33% or worse. So coming into the season, I'm doing this obviously right now, in 57 of 138 games, that's 40%. In 57 of 138 games, Keonte had shot 33% or below on a given night, 41% of his games. This year, Keontae's just not doing that. He has had one game, his 3 for 12 game against Indiana, which we won 152 to 128. And he had a 3 of 10 game against Phoenix. And then he's had 2 other games that are at 33%. So he's not immune to it. Like, he's at 33% in 4 out of 16, which is 25%. He's not immune to it. But 25% compared to 41% is a big deal. Both the last 2 nights to me were prime nights where he could end up having force the game, get out from his game, get frustrated, lose his bearings, and have a terrible shooting night. And instead, really in the simplest, most boring form of comments, we just saw maturity from him. The last 2 nights for me show me that Keyonte George of year 3 is Keyonte George. This is real. And this is the player the Jazz have, which is a bona fide NBA starting player who's playing at a big-time high level. That's what I've seen the last 2 games out of Keyonte George, and that's what's so exciting to me. And they aren't massive 35-point unbelievable outings, right? Like, that's the other thing I think is my point here. Like, he just had good games. He just was solid. He just looked like he belonged. He looked like he was one of the most impactful players on the floor. There were some things in last night's game where he got frustrated, which I didn't love, and then I looked down, he's like, no, he's fine. Like, sometimes I think I have PTSD from his past performances and his past games, and I'm expecting him to start doing something. He doesn't do it. It's kind of great to watch the growth. But this was, like, if we're honest, this was a seriously flawed player the last 2 years. We're not seeing that at all. And it's 2 of the best defenses in the NBA, 2 of the tougher matchups in the NBA. Lakers guard line's obviously bad defensively, but you understand. He ends up shooting 49%, 42% from 3 the last 2 games. He scores 24 points a game. He gets 8 assists. Big time. Big time. And I love it. And he's playing with just such an abundance of confidence. He did miss a free throw after his last free throw miss was November 5th against Detroit, and he missed a free throw last night. Just look at him the last 5 games. Keonte the last 5 games is 45% from the floor, 37% from 3. He's scoring 27 points a game and getting 7 assists. Like, the 3-point, I went and talked to Chris Jones. His off the bounce 3 is the shot that's really been struggling for him. And I asked him, is there anything going on, footwork or anything? He said, no, nothing's wrong. It'll just let's take some more and see what happens. And if he's going left right now on that 3, it looks really good on the off the bounce. Pretty exciting. Really, hey, we've lost 3 in a row. We lost 4 out of 5, but the big picture stories are Ace Bailey is happening and Keyonte George is real. Those are great. Now, is anyone else coming along for the ride? That's what we're going to have to find out. And Walker, Kessler, and Keyonte George would tell us, have some patience and wait till year 3, but that is seriously no fun, so we're not planning to do that. We'll just overanalyze everything between now and then. Join me for it. It's super fun. Trends Monday next on Locked on Jazz. Today's show is brought to you in part by FanDuel, the official sports book of the NBA and the official sports book of Locked On. FanDuel right now. New members, new customers, $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com, sign up, and play your game with FanDuel. Even if you missed the start of a game, you can jump in. If you want to ride the hot hand, you can do that because FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. The NBA is back and rolling, and FanDuel is there for you. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team is making the late push. So right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets with their first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel.com, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Jazz on a back-to-back tonight against a Warriors team that has lost 3 in a row and is desperate. Maybe without Draymond Green, is without Jonathan Kuminga tonight. And the Jazz are a 14.5-point dog to the Warriors tonight. Wow. Sacramento's a 9.5-point dog at home up the road against Minnesota. And Memphis is an 8-point underdog at home against Denver, who's without Aaron Gordon for an extended stretch. Some big lines for home teams. Brooklyn is a 14-point underdog as well tonight in that one. All at FanDuel.com. Today's show is also brought to you by our friends over at Wayfair. Holiday season is here, and that means it's time to get your home ready. Whether you need more seating for guests, cozy new linens, or fun serveware for the holiday hosting, Wayfair's Black Friday sale is here to help you make your space shine. And the best part, you don't have to wait for Black Friday deals because they're happening right now all month long. Up to 70% off everything from sofa to spatulas at Wayfair. We just used Wayfair, a bunch of upgrading on our end. You can do the same. Everything fast ship was there in time. Browsing through the site's easy to find the pieces that fit your style. Nothing generic. Quality designs that make it feel personal how you want to do it. So if you're hosting family for the holidays and you want to make a little difference, new touches can make. Wayfair makes that easy. Don't miss out on the early Black Friday deals. Head to Wayfair.com now to shop Wayfair's Black Friday sale up to 70% off. That's Wayfair.com, and the sale ends December 7th at Wayfair.com. Thank you so much for making Locked on Jazz your first listen of the day. tonight, Jazz Warriors. Join us, 8 o'clock start at home. All right, trends Monday. Now we actually have some trends. I got asked about points gained. We'll bring back points gained. It was requested. I used to do it, I think, on Fridays, but maybe we'll do it on, I don't know, Thursdays might be the answer. But Fridays have been so good with Q&A. I don't know that I want to do that. All right, so the first thing we look at is the last 10 games and what teams are doing. And then we look at more recent trends of the last 2 weeks. That's how we do this each and every time. And now we have enough games in the last 10 games. We're quite a ways through the season now. So Detroit is 10-0 in the last 10 games, but they have the 6th best differential in the NBA, which is interesting. Here's the hottest team in the league this side of Oklahoma City is Toronto. Toronto has really clicked in. We saw this last Monday in Trends Monday. We talked about this a little bit. So Oklahoma City is number 1 at 19.5 and just throttling people, differential. Toronto's 2 at 12.3, then Houston at 10.9, then Phoenix, real stunner, at 10.1, and then Minnesota at 9.6. So the Timberwolves begin to play better, and Detroit's right there at 9.6. Denver after that. The 5 teams that are really struggling right now are the Wizards at -17, Sacramento at -17, Indiana at -15, New Orleans at -11, and the Jazz have slipped into the bottom 5 at -8 over the last 10 games. Charlotte right there as well at -7.6. Hottest offensive team in the NBA right now is the Knicks. The Knicks in Denver, which was my NBA Finals pick right there. Probably because I always think offense, and all my numbers are offense. The Knicks and Denver are the 1-2 offense. Toronto is the 3rd best offense in the NBA over the last 10 games. Boston, who's won 6 of the last 10, is the 4th best offense over the last 10 games. And Houston, stunningly, is the 5th. Houston continues to grab 40% of their misses, 40% of their offensive rebounding. Incredible. Oklahoma City there. Orlando, without Paulo Banchero recently, is now the 7th best offense in the NBA. That one's worth keeping an eye on. Teams that are having a hard time scoring right now are Indiana, Sacramento, Dallas, New Orleans, and Memphis, with Washington right behind. The Warriors actually are not having a hard time scoring as well. We're 20th in offense over the last 10 games, so we're not in that group. The number 1 defense in the NBA, this is crazy. In the last 10 games, Oklahoma City's defense is a 101, and the 2nd best team is a 109. They're 8 points better than any other team in the league. That is the equivalent of 2nd to 20th. Phoenix is 2nd, and if you go 8 points down, you get to 20th. The 5 best off defensive teams right now are Oklahoma City, Phoenix, Detroit, Toronto, Minnesota, and Houston. So Toronto, Minnesota, Houston, Oklahoma, I mean, these are the same teams kind of on both sides right now. The teams that are struggling to defend are Washington, Sacramento, Portland. So for all the talk of Portland, everything really having a defensive slump, Indiana and all their pressure, Indiana, Utah, and Charlotte. I'm not always right. In fact, not always right very often. But I will say, we saw Portland. I said it would not work. Like, they played us, and everybody talked about their pressure. I was like, yeah, we had our best offensive game of the year. Like, seemed a little nuts. So those are the hottest and coldest teams in the last 2 weeks. We'll take a quick run. I wanted to point out one thing I didn't get to earlier. I meant to get it to start this segment. So last night's game by the Jazz, it's one of their best defensive games of the year, which is pretty cool against LeBron and Reeves and that team. Last night, the Jazz defensive rating was the 2nd best they've had in any game all year. Sacramento in game 2 was better. And the Clipper game in game 1 was the same. So that's the best defensive rating the Jazz have had in any game since Walker Kessler went out. It follows back-to-back nights where our defense was really bad. Really, 6 of our last 7 games prior, our defense was well below average in like 10th percentile or worse. And so that last night was a really nice night for the Jazz. Defensive rebounding the last 2 games have been great. And after Oklahoma City hit everything, the Lakers did not. So that was the best statistically defensive outing by the Jazz all season long. It was not a particularly good offensive outing. It was one of our worst offensive outings we've had in quite some time. In fact, I think it's the worst offensive outing since when we just got throttled in Minnesota. But that's, that's at least just, I wanted to mention that earlier, that's another good sign. It's like, okay, played some defense. Like this team did not play a lot of defense last year. So that is good. All right. Then we like to look at the last 2 weeks of the season. And and it tells us kind of what's going on. This is then shortens it up probably about 6 or 7 games. Oklahoma City has won by a huge margin, plus 28 in the last 7 games. Crazy. They may go win 74 games. Toronto, Rylan Stiles actually did his podcast on this today of Locked on Thunder. I think it's legit. Toronto is 2, Phoenix is 3, Houston is 4, and Detroit is 5. Boston 6. That's really, really eye-opening. Teams that are struggling the most right now, Sacramento, Indiana, Washington, New Orleans, Portland on the skids, and then Charlotte. Offensively, the number one team in the NBA recently is Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City in the last 7 games is number one offense, number one defense, it's crazy. Oklahoma City's number one offense in non-blowout minutes. Houston is 2, Denver's 3, Toronto is 4, Boston is 5. Interesting note that New York is not in here, so let's keep an eye on New York and whether something is slid. Karl-Anthony Towns is not having a very good shooting year this year, which is worth keeping an eye on also. Phoenix is 6. Teams that cannot score right now are Sacramento, New Orleans, Dallas, Golden State, Memphis, and Washington. So the Warriors really having a hard time scoring. You can see it. They do not. Steph makes miraculous plays, and then it's not much else. Defensively, Oklahoma City is 10 points better than everybody else the last 7 games. 10 points better. Then Toronto, Phoenix, Minnesota, Lakers, and Detroit. Toronto's really interesting in here and worth keeping an eye on. Phoenix is surprising as well. The teams that are not defending right now are Indiana, Washington, Sacramento, Portland, Charlotte, and Utah. That is your Trends Monday. That is Locked on Jazz. Have a wonderful day. Thank you very much, Jazz. And the Warriors tomorrow, I'll try to get a show for you. It'll be a little interesting, but I think we'll be able to get it done. And then Wednesday, I'm probably off. Thursday, I'm off. Friday, I'll have a show for you. This is Locked on Jazz. Have a wonderful day. Thank you very much for tuning in. We now send you the first ever 24/7 national NBA channel on YouTube, Locked on NBA. And check out Game Night. Every game, every night on Locked on NBA.